Legion Nation fam, what's up? What is happening? It's Ryan Williams back again for the TFA DFS Contrary 10, also known as the top low-owned plays here as I break down 10 players for you that I'm looking at to get a little bit contrarian for your DFS lineups for the week. Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at RyanAlexander_W. Also need you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel to find all the content, all the stuff that we're putting out, the podcast, this show, everything that you need, you can find here on our YouTube channel. So subscribe, like the video, comment if you'd like. Appreciate all the love that you guys gave me last week. And here we go with week 3. We're going to start it off at quarterback. And Carson Wentz right now is coming in as one of my favorite guys to target. It's ridiculous what he's coming in at on DraftKings. You look at it, he's the quarterback 15 there on DraftKings, but the quarterback 8 on FanDuel. If he can't do it this week, against Cincinnati, then I don't really know what's going on here, right? It's a favorable matchup. You love that they're passing the ball a lot with Carson Wentz right now. If you're targeting him for DFS with that upside, he's got 43 attempts is what he's averaging a game. Even though he's missing Jalen Reagor, he's still got explosive weapons. When you look at DeSean Jackson, the tight ends they got there, Miles Sanders, who I love, and I just wrote up in my building blocks article, I can't get away from him. But to hedge on the field, you're thinking you take Carson Wentz, you get Miles Sanders, and you probably get all the Philly points there with their implied total there. So love Carson Wentz, especially on DraftKings. He gets you, if you get that 300-yard bonus there, that's an extra 3 points. If he can get 300 yards, a couple touchdowns there, I think you'll be looking fine if you pick the right players to play with him. Let's head into running backs. I got a couple of running backs to break down this week for you. And I'm kind of cheating here a little bit with the first one because it's Austin Ekeler and Joshua Kelley together. Now, Joshua Kelley is another guy that I wrote up this week for my building blocks. But when you're looking at the situation of them playing against Carolina, pretty much one of the worst defenses in the league right now, right? Like only Miami, Las Vegas, and Detroit are ranked lower than them on Football Outsiders when it comes to defensive DVOA, especially on DraftKings. Ekeler 6,800. You get Josh Kelley for 5,000, right? And you pair them together, and it's just over what you were getting from Christian McCaffrey when we're seeing his price tag at like 10K, 10.5. Even though Carolina is allowing the most rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs, they're allowing most targets and receptions to running backs as well too, allowing 9 more DK points to the position, 7 more than the next defense of FanDuel points. And the Chargers are just running at a high pace. They're going to have the kid back there and Justin Herbert. Love that. Getting well over 70 plays, so they should have ample opportunities to score. And you look at last week, what happened is Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones both combined for 40 DraftKings points. So when you take that into consideration, you get these two guys in a block, it just looks very enticing to do. Really, it's a play for Ekeler there because Kelley's just way too cheap, but love getting both of them together. Let's bring in Derrick Henry here. Derrick Henry disappointed a lot of people. He's 7,800 on DraftKings this week, 8,200 on FanDuel. And FanDuel is where you're really looking to play him, right? Because he's not catching a lot of passes, but he is just such an explosive runner. And it's crazy because he's first in touches, but he's 26th in fantasy points per game. This Minnesota defense is a little bit better against the run than they are against the pass. But look at this secondary, right? They're dealing with a ton of injuries. Cam Dantzler, Mike Hughes are going to be out for this game. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Hilton and the rest of that secondary who's healthy. I think they got another cornerback who's dealing with a hamstring injury. Anthony Barr going on IR, already missing a couple other defensive players there. So if you're thinking that Tennessee comes into this game, they're able to move the ball, hopefully get down into the red zone and get Derrick Henry some touchdowns there. The touchdown regression has to be coming. There's a stat that people look at in the fantasy community called the green zone touches within the 0 to the 10, and he's got 6 of those on the year with no touchdowns. It's really crazy. You're getting exposure to a high total game there. Don't have to take the efficient Ryan Tannehill if you don't want to, who's getting a lot of traction, I feel like right now. You take Derrick Henry, get the plays right there. Good leverage off of Ekeler, Carson, Zeke, and Miles Sanders on FanDuel. Let's bring in James Conner here. He's 6,700, I believe, on DraftKings, 7,100 on FanDuel. The Steelers have an implied total of 24, so you like that. They're getting DeCastro back on the line, so that should help them. James Conner kind of got a, cheap touchdown there at the end against the Broncos last week. But you still like to see that explosiveness from him after dealing with the injury on week 1. So now you get a healthy O-line. You're going against a Houston team that's third versus the run when it comes to yards allowed. It's a good pivot off of the players like Deontay Johnson, who should be chalk this week, I think, at the wide receiver position at his price tag that he's coming in. But you get good leverage there off of players. And another great play on FanDuel where he's the 11th highest priced running back. Let's get a couple guys here who are 6,200 on DraftKings. It's Julian Edelman and Allen Robinson. I'll go with Edelman first, as this is strictly a DraftKings play there. He's 6,500 on FanDuel, but you really need a touchdown for him to pay off. He's coming off a career game. Cam Newton was just feeding him the ball. It's crazy, 170-something yards from him. So it feels like you're getting a little point chasey, but you're looking at the situation and you're just saying that Edelman is really going to be utilized on the field. James White, with the unfortunate situation that he's dealing with in the personal matter, he's going to miss this game. So they could probably utilize Edelman all across the field against this Vegas team that they're going to be playing against. He's 16th in yards per reception. He's now second in yards with that big game. The slot corner, LaMarcus Joyner, is going to have a big battle against him. And Traquan Smith just ate it up against LaMarcus Joyner as well. So you like Julian Edelman just as a pivot play, more so on DraftKings. Let's get to Allen Robinson. He's 6,200 on DraftKings. Way too cheap. It's just extremely too cheap. He's 6,900 on FanDuel, but DraftKings is really what I like, what I like there. You get exposure to this game. Again, another high total game. That's really what we're chasing for in DFS. And Allen Robinson, you can play him without playing Trubisky because of just the target share that he's garnering in this offense. The Falcons secondary is atrocious. And then we just got word, I'm recording this on Saturday, and word just came through that AJ Terrell is going to be the first player to miss because of testing positive for COVID. So he's going to be out. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Isaiah Oliver, a lot of pressure on this guy, Kendall Sheffield, who was a 4th-round pick in 2019. And he's going to – you look at week 1 with Detroit, he saw 9 targets in a game where they had to come back. And so if Matt Ryan's able to force Trubisky's hand, you should look for seeing a good day out of Allen Robinson there, as they'll need him. T.Y. Hilton, 5,800 on DK, 6,200 on FanDuel. 5,800 on DK is really what I like, but 6,200 too on FanDuel. You're looking at that. Last week, he dropped a wide open touchdown. It was crazy. The retractable roof, the shading was kind of weird, and it's a catch that he would make all the time, and he drops it. So I think that's changing people's outlooks on him, but his dome, when he plays in a retractable roof setting, when he plays indoors, right, his numbers are just so much better. You're looking at 32 of his career 45 touchdowns has come indoors. He's just so much better. The Jets are a good defensive team against the run, number 3 in DVOA when it comes against the run, but just 22 against the pass. So I definitely like T.Y. Hilton this week a lot. Jarvis Landry, another guy, he's 5,500 on DraftKings, 5,800 on FanDuel. You really want to play him on DraftKings, right, with the PPR notion that you should be able to get slot guy. The Washington defense has actually been pretty good according to Football Outsiders numbers when you look at the numbers, but slot guys have been successful against this Washington team. I don't know what was going on last week, but Larry Fitzgerald went for 70 and 50. The Philadelphia receivers had their way against them in week 1. Landry is going to be seeing the field. It sounds like he's a little bit healthier now, coming off of hip surgery. So I really like getting some exposure to Landry. And I don't think anybody's going to be playing him. 2 more guys that I got for you is DeSean Jackson coming in first here, 5,200 on DraftKings, 5,500 on FanDuel. He's just such an explosive player. He's got one of the best matchups according to Pro Football Focus there, going against Darius Phillips, who runs a 4.5. DeSean Jackson runs a 4.3. So you're hoping he can get a step or two against this guy. And really, if he takes one to the house, 50-yarder and a touchdown, you're already starting off strong there with his price tag really paying off. So, and he could get another one, right? There's no Rager that opens things up. He's got 16 targets through 2 weeks. That ties him with guys like Julio, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen, and OBJ. So really love DeSean Jackson there, especially if I'm getting exposure to Carson Wentz, I want to be able to get the pieces right. And then lastly, before we close it out, we got Russel Gage coming in. He's 5,100 on DraftKings, 5,600 on FanDuel. I think Julio's banged up. I don't think he's been ruled out. Game time decision. But if he were to miss, that could be just an added bonus for Russel Gage. He should be able to get what he wants. And maybe Hayden Hurst to a certain extent too, because Calvin Ridley is going to be the focus in the offense. This guy has been explosive through 2 weeks. Kyle Fuller is going to be on him. And if he's able to contain him and they do like bracket coverage, Russel Gage and maybe Hayden Hurst to a certain extent should get open across the middle of the field. Russel Gage is averaging 7.9 targets over the past 11 games since Mohamed Sanu has been traded, which is just a phenomenal stat, I think. And so he's going to be on the field. It's a tough matchup for Gurley, so you're not really looking to him. You want to get a high exposure to this game because of the high over-under total that's expected. And Russel Gage just makes a ton of sense for me. So that's going to do it there for the Week 3 top-low owned plays, the contrary 10. I really appreciate you guys, all the chatter that was coming through from last week, continuing to do that for the rest of the season. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at RyanAlexander_W, and also follow the Fantasy Authority at FF_authority, DGen Nation Pod at DGen Nation Pod on Twitter. We're doing good things for you guys this week. I want to see you guys on the leaderboard, see you guys making money, and we'll catch you next week for the Week 4 top low on plays. Until then, we out. Peace.